So many of us were actually never taught how to communicate, how to express what we need, how to set boundaries, or how to handle conflict without shutting down or blowing up and severing the relationship. But in truth, knowing how to do this is everything, because communication is everything. It is the foundation of every single relationship you will ever have. And if you watched part 1 of my How to Communicate Like a Pro series and you've learned DEARMAN, which is a skill that helps you ask for what you need without guilt or without ruining the relationships and blowing up on someone, without having the other person get super defensive. But truly getting what you want is only one piece of the puzzle. Because what is the point of asking for your needs if the relationship falls apart in the process? And as someone with BPD, I've definitely done this before, where I just asked for my needs to be met in very disrespectful ways, or ways that kind of offended people, and it destroyed the relationship. Or I would betray myself in order to keep the peace. I forgoed my values and my morals and what I wanted because I'm kind of like bended to what this other person felt like they should do. But DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, truly changed my life. It just taught me how to communicate with others. It taught me how to maintain relationships and how to keep my self-respect while doing this. And so for today, we are going to go over how to keep the relationship healthy after you communicate your needs. We're going to learn how to communicate in a way that keeps your relationship intact without abandoning yourself. We're going to just learn how to be really healthy communicators. What healthy communicating is and isn't. Healthy communicating is not like being better at arguing, having the strongest argument, being right, or even like being less reactive and staying calm, cool, and collected. It's about building connections or being able to solve a problem while having both parties feeling valued, safe, and seen. DEARMAN, in the last video, I'll have it linked below too. It was all about objective effectiveness, which is just like getting what you need from relationships. GIVE is about interpersonal effectiveness, so keeping the relationship. GIVE is an acronym that stands for be gentle, act interested, validate, and use an easy manner. So let's start with G, the G part of GIVE, be gentle. We are going to stay nice and respectful during times of conflict. There are going to be no attacks, no verbal or physical attacks, no hitting, no clenching your fists, no harassment, even if it's like verbal harassment. Like, you can't say mean things. I think when we're like in the heat of the moment, sometimes it's very easy to try to like hurt the other person, hopefully not physically, but definitely emotionally and verbally. That's a no-no, okay? If your goal is to like stay friends with this person or stay in a relationship with this person, but you are just dishing very big attacks on them, that shit's gonna stay with someone. It's not just gonna go away. When you're not angry anymore, when things are cooling off, that doesn't just magically disappear. That person is going to remember what you said. So no attacks, no threats of any kind. Even if I think a very extreme one is like, oh, I'll kill myself if, or something like that. But there are also like not as extreme ones where you're kind of like expressing the consequences of a person not doing something or whatever it is, right? And that's totally fine, but you have to express the consequence very calmly without an exaggeration. There also shouldn't be any judging. So like, oh, if you were a good person, you would. Oh, if you were, like, don't do any of that. You're not gonna get your point across to anyone if you're doing this. People are just gonna get super defensive and reactive. So also a big one is no sneering. Don't roll your eyes. Don't like, don't cut off the other person. Don't be like, oh, that's so stupid. Don't walk away from them. Don't try to make them feel small. We're gonna act interested. So, like, this is stuff that we like low-key learn. Active listening, you nod your head. Remember that communicating is you're trying to come to a common goal. If you're able to make that person feel like what they're saying is important. Make the other person feel like you're interested in whatever they have to say, and you're facing them, you're maintaining eye contact, you're leaning towards them, not interrupting, and you're being super patient and sensitive. That person is going to be more receptive to trying to fix the problem. That person is going to be more receptive to trying to have your goals and your desires met. Then V is to validate. So with words and actions, you're going to also show the person that you're trying to get their needs and feelings met, that you understand, or you're trying to understand how the other person feels. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see that you this and that. And I think validating the other person is probably the biggest thing. Think about it like this, right? Let's say you're dealing with a Karen at work or something like that. Ma'am, we don't do that here, ma'am. And you have this like, I don't give a fuck attitude. You're like rolling your eyes. You're like, come on, like leave, get over yourself. What is that person going to do? They're going to get super like, oh, like angry. But when you validate them and you're like, okay, ma'am, I understand. I totally see where you're coming from. You're almost making them be like, oh, okay. Because a lot of people skip this. A lot of people want to be right, especially like in a time of conflict. People want to be right. People want to be, no, I'm right. It's my feelings, my reasoning, my thoughts. So when you're almost like, oh, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, I'm trying to, like, I understand your anger and your frustration. It almost like throws them off because people are not used to that. That could be like the easiest way to de-escalate a situation because it almost feels embarrassing. When the other person is coming at you and attacking you and being super mean and you're over here validating them, trying to understand them, it's embarrassing for the other person to continue to be mean and ugly. If you're somebody that's used to arguing a lot, or if you're somebody that's used to always trying to be right in arguments, it might feel like your ego's a little bruised. You trying to be like, yes, I understand you. It could feel like, oh, like I don't want to do that. Like I want to keep fighting. I want to be right. But you will end up being right if you validate someone and try to get them to like see that you actually care about what they're trying to say. And then E is to use an easy manner. Throw, a little humor in. Smile. Try to be like, you know what? Like, come on, this is not that serious. It's fine. You're good. I'm good. Be super lightheaded. Sweet talk the other person. Again, this is something that could go against your ego because the ego, we want to be right. We want to be all hard and being like, no, like, trying to just protect yourself. But when you do these things, when you validate and when you sweet talk the person, you end up being the one winning. You end up being the one looking more mature. You end up being the one who's able to get their point across. That alone could flip the script into a full-blown argument to like a nice and civil discussion. Now, if you're like listening to this and you're like, girl, I'm gonna look soft as hell. I'm gonna look like a little bitch if I do this shit. Then this is where FAST comes in. So FAST is all about self-respect effectiveness. So keeping your respect for yourself stands for be fair, no apologies, stick to values, and be truthful. So you want to be fair to yourself and to the other person. We're going to remember to validate your own feelings and wishes as well as the other person's, right? You're not going to just like give the other person everything that they want and you're not going to try to like get everything that you want met. No, you're going to come at like a common ground. You're going to try to find a solution that kind of benefits both of you guys. And then no apologies. This really means don't over apologize. Yes, of course, you can apologize if like you made a mistake, but you're not gonna try to over apologize because then yes, you're gonna feel like, oh God, I'm inferior to this person almost, right? No apologizing for making a request. No apologizing for like being yourself, for being alive, for having an opinion that's different from the other person's. We're not going to look ashamed. Conflict is natural. It's normal. It happens. You don't have to apologize for conflict, so long as like you didn't do something super like ridiculously fucked up. But I think like the biggest thing here is just don't try to invalidate the valid. Then stick to your values. So don't sell out your values for reasons that aren't very important. Again, this is just gonna take a toll on the amount of respect that we have for ourselves, right? If you have values that you are set on, stick to them. You don't have to forgo them in order to escalate a situation. You are allowed to keep your integrity. You are allowed to be clear on what you believe is right. You don't always have to be like the yes man. You can try to de-escalate the situation as much as possible without completely being like a pushover. Then the last one is to be truthful. So we don't want to lie. We don't want to act helpless when we are not. And we don't want to try to exaggerate or make up excuses. Could you maybe get away a win if you start lying, getting the sympathy vote from the other person? Yeah, but I think that it is easy for that to stay with you. Because you know when you are doing the right thing, you know when you're doing the wrong thing. We never want to lie or try to manipulate an argument for our favor. So let's do a little role play scenario of give, right? Gentle. Hey, I know that you didn't mean to interrupt me earlier, but it made it hard for me to share my thoughts. This is very calm. I wasn't like giving any sarcasm. I wasn't rolling my eyes. I wasn't attacking the other person. I was just being gentle. Hey, I know you didn't mean to, but if this made me feel this way, could we do this instead? Act interested, right? Like let's say the other person is super upset. They're coming at you or whatever. Instead of being like, oh, yeah, whatever, you're going to nod and say, I'm listening. Tell me what's going on. You're going to be showing genuine interest, even if you do disagree. And you're going to validate. This is something that my boyfriend is really good at because I get mad a lot. And when he comes to me and he's like, I get why you're frustrated. Anyone would feel that way. And I'm in the middle of yelling at him or whatever. I'm kind of like, oh, he gets where I'm coming from. And it makes me react in just a more calmer way. For easy manner, right? You're going at it, or this person came to you with a problem and you're like, let's figure this out. Don't worry. We're going to figure out a solution. It's fine. No stress. We're good. We are going to get past this little obstacle. We're fine. So for fair, something that you can say to remind you or to cue the other person that you're trying to be fair to both you and them. I hear your point, but I also need you to understand mine. You're not attacking. You're not saying, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. No, you're just saying, yes, I get you. I need you to get me too. And then for not over apologizing, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have even said anything. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so dumb. I don't know why I get like, no, you're going to be like, thank you for hearing me out. We only want to, again, apologize when it's truly warranted. And so for stick to your values, it's going to like differentiate from person to person because everyone has different values, of course. But like, let's say honesty is one of like your big values. You're going to be like, hey, I want to be truly transparent about this, even if it makes me look bad, even if it's uncomfortable. I'm going to be truly transparent. And I would hope that you do the same for me. And then let's say things are like de-escalating and that's where truthful comes out. Maybe you're losing the argument. And what do we sometimes want to do when we lose argument? We want to make a lie to like push the argument back into our side. We don't want to do that because again, the goal is not to win. The goal is just to communicate our needs effectively. You know what? The real reason why I still feel this way is because of this. Hey, you know what? I am starting to see your point more. I think you are correct. And maybe I felt this way because of this. That was GIVE and FAST. I think these feel like common sense, but it's very hard to remember these things when we are in the thick of an argument. So something that has really helped me, because again, toxic communicator, ex-toxic communicator, okay? Something that really helped me was to recite these every once in a while. Because obviously when you're in an argument, you're not going to be carrying around your little GIVE and FAST flashcards. That's not how the world works. So if you can just read up on them, freshen up your memory on them, because this is just a skill that you have to build. But yeah, that was all that I had for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, and until next time, bye.